Okay. I think that's okay. That should be a little bit better. Still looks a little bit too light, but that could just be the settings that I have. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let's get started. So, CPI print this morning. But more importantly than the CPI print is, I don't know why this happens, but every morning my settings go back to default every morning on OBS. So we have the CPI print. I haven't looked at the reading, but I think, am I right in thinking it was 0.4, minus 0.4 or something? I'll have a look in a second. Let me just get it up. Where was I? Yeah, so I believe we've got the Walsh testifying in an hour at 10 a.m. EST. And I believe, did inflation come in at minus 0.4%? Let's just double check. I have that number in my head for some reason. Forecast was what, 3.8? We came, oh no, that's June. So where is July? Give me a second, guys. $3.5. Okay. So it doesn't really look like a clear bias to me as of yet. I am probably going to need to wait for Walsh at 10 o'clock because I don't really, until the market opens, I don't really have, I'm going to remain in the same bias as I've been in all week, since yesterday anyway. I don't think there's any edge trading before the market opens unless you're just blindly long in CPI, which obviously tends to work. But for me at least, I'm going to wait till the market opens, not taking anything so far today, and we are going to have to be a bit more mindful. It's been a news-driven trading environment for quite a while, and I don't think today is going to be any different. So be on the lookout for any erratic price movement, with knowing that we've got Fed Walsh speaking at 10 a.m. I'm just going to double check it is 10 a.m. today. Yeah, 10 a.m. testifies to Congress, so depending on what he says, I do believe, let me just double check what I was reading earlier. Okay, pretty meaningless to me. Good morning, everyone on YouTube. Sorry, I've just been doing some stuff in the background. Okay, so yeah, got to my desk a little bit later than normal today, so apologies on that side. Again, as I said yesterday, Danny, my partner, came back from a 2-week holiday yesterday with our 10-month, or soon to be 10-month baby. So we've just been catching up with her and him for the last 24 hours or so. And therefore, I haven't really been doing too much today. Well, I haven't done anything today. So what we've done so far on the overnight, again, CPI print tends to be a bullish print in terms of price action, and that has transpired, at least for now. We have hit ETH highs, I believe, on gold. So see out, yesterday was a really nice example. I'm going to bring this photo up so you can see. For those in the trading room, I don't think I took the shot on gold on YouTube, did I? Don't think so. The only trade we took yesterday in the trading room was the short that I had on gold, which was a really nice trade. I'll show you the actual executions in a second. So yesterday we traded, or I traded live on stream, the short on gold. So we hit the ETH low. We had that initial pump. I shorted this reclaim or rejection here back into the lows. And I got off for essentially 1.8R because I took 50% off at 2R and then I trailed at 1R. So whatever that works out to be. I think it's like 1.7 or something like that. So yeah, it was a good trade. And then pretty much accumulation all on the overnight down here at the ET. And this is the overshoot. So look at the overshoot. Touches the overshoot, bounces, touches the overshoot, bounces, touches the overshoot, bounces. And now we trade the ETH ATR high on the day. As simple as that. Level to level, baby. Level to level. I'll just grab that short so you can see. I did post it on the socials, but just in case you did not get to see that. Kept it really, really light yesterday. 2 trades. 1 on the overnight and 1 live on stream. And this was my trade. As you can see. Short there at basically 40,020 thereabouts, and covered down there at 3,997 and then 407s. Okay, that was the short on gold. And P&L wise, I only traded 2 accounts. So nothing too crazy, but if you can make $1,700 on a day that's not too crazy, then what are we talking about, Willis? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? For those in the trading room, I have done a bit of a layout, new layout, so to speak. So just move some stuff around. If you are wanting to know where things are, just show you a quick look so you can see. So the live trading room is here. You guys are watching this live in the room anyway, so you guys are fine. But if you aren't in the room, the live trading room is here. So this is where we are live, as you can see. Hello. This is looking a little bit weird. I'm watching myself on 3 streams. Anyway, but that's where the live trading room is, and then this is the other channels. Okay, so that is that. There's a question on YouTube. Let me just have a look. Do you recommend the 25 or the 50k accounts? It doesn't really matter what account you trade. If you're a good trader, you can trade the account. I've traded every single account, so it just depends how good of a trader you are. If you're a good trader, you can trade a 25k account. Try to reframe that question. What, $1,000 account or a $2,000 account? That's all it is, right? So, do you recommend a $1,000 account or do you recommend a $2,000 account? Doesn't really matter, right? Just do whatever. If you can trade, if you can trade with $1,000 risk, then trade that account. If you can trade with a $2,000 risk, trade that account. If you can trade with a $4,500 account, trade that account. It really just depends on how much you risk per trade. I don't think the account really matters so much not as much as how much you risk per trade. Matters way more than the account. But I've made over $250,000 on the 25k accounts and probably another $200,000 on the 150k accounts, and probably, I don't know, less than 20k on the 50k. So I don't really use the 50ks as much. But the 150Ks and the 25Ks have been my bread and butter for the last 2 years. But that's meaningless to everyone listening, because you guys are going to trade differently to me, just like I trade differently to other people. What I risk, other people won't risk, and what some people risk, I won't risk. So it's all different. But the account that works is the account that gets you paid. And if it makes sense to you, then that's the account to use. Okay, so looking at my levels, I'm going to just do this whilst I'm on NinjaTrader to keep this nice and simple. It is 17 minutes past 9. I will stick to the same theme I've had. Did I get caught up in any shenanigans on Monday, yesterday? No, which was really nice. I had the same theme throughout the whole day, pre-market and post-market, or post-open. I was telling my members, do not step in to anything that doesn't make sense. And we were able to stay out of a lot of the mess. Now, in fact, I'm going to go back to yesterday's price action. Okay. This is what we was expecting on the NQ. We actually did get scenario B, which was nice. I didn't take scenario B. That just goes to show, even though you can have a plan, sometimes I don't execute it. So even though yesterday's plan was perfect, I ended up trading the short on gold instead. So I ended up taking this trade on gold, okay? And it was a different trade to what I initially had played out. This is why I keep my levels on here. You know, I'm not a trader that will hide behind, you said this, but then did this. Like, no, you have to be dynamic, right? This was the trade I laid out on NQ. It played out pretty much to the absolute high to the low, before bouncing a little bit. Gold, on the other hand, did not get that bounce. But what it did is it showed weakness by trading that ETH low, and I knew my stats on retracements to go lower at that point in time. Didn't take anything else. I don't think I had any drawings for anything else. I wasn't really interested in anything else, so I only had drawings for NQ and gold. So I'm going to just go through yesterday's price action. Would I have done anything differently on NQ? Not really. No, I wouldn't have. The short on NQ at, let's call it 5 p.m. my time, which would be 1 p.m. EST. I wouldn't, well, I didn't take that short, obviously. So I wouldn't have taken that short, even looking back now. Even though it did play out, it did play out pretty nicely. Pretty much, got about 200, well, just under 200 points on that trade. I didn't take it, and to be honest, I wouldn't have had any targets for that anyway. So not necessarily too disappointed on that at all. And nothing on YM. RTY, I didn't have a plan for RTY, and looking at the price action, nothing to do on there either, so that's fine. ES, on the other hand, again, nothing for me at least, so didn't really do anything on that. Whereas GC was a beautiful, beautiful downtrend. And to be honest, it wasn't as clean. I mean, it came like, I had a target down at 3,986 on gold, which was 3,986. So technically speaking, it didn't actually complete its target. I got stopped out on an R value, trailing R, which is obviously fine. But again, technically speaking, it wasn't really a trade that actually went to completion. So I don't think yesterday, for my style of trading, I'm not saying you couldn't have traded well. I'm just saying me personally, I'm speaking about myself, wasn't really anything that I'm not really, there's nothing that's standing out to me where I was like, oh, I wish I took that trade, right? I wish I took that trade. So to be honest, fairly lackluster day, although, nice downtrend. There's money to be made on a downtrend if it matches your system. But for me, at least, kind of glad I only took one trade and it was a winning trade. So happy on that. Coming into today, as I said yesterday, I'm not taking any previous day bias into the current day. This is not the market environment to be looking left and applying that same bias, in my opinion, to the right-hand side. So for me, I will trade off the current levels that are in play and literally just trade what I see. I'm not going to try and be too biased either way. I know where the higher time frame bias is, but that's not going to hopefully dictate too much of my intraday bias, because what happens intraday throughout the day is very different to what happens on a longer term basis. Okay, so remember, day to day pretty much random. Long term wise, the upside is the trajectory is to the upside. So play those moves, play those asymmetric risks on either side. And be patient for those entries. As I always say, if the trade is so clean, you can't not take it. That's the trade you should probably be taking, not the one that you're having to create a plan for. You're having to give reasons to yourself as to why you think this trade is a good trade. Like, the trade is a good trade if it's a good trade. Like, you don't have to come up with 10 reasons as to why you think it's a good trade whilst you're in it. So for me, at least, the trade will be screaming to me that I should be in it if it's worth taking. So as it stands right now, it's going to be a situation where I wait till the open and probably wait for the first half an hour to the hour. And I'm not really too disappointed in having to be patient and waiting for those trades to set up. I really do think trading less is the way to go. And to be honest, I'm very disappointed with what I'm seeing in the prop firm space. It's kind of just making me less infused. As a trader, it's kind of like the worst thing you really want to see, because it's kind of like going into the gambling space, which is like the worst thing ever. Like, oftentimes gambling and trading is like synonymous, and realistically, I kind of want to say it shouldn't be, but realistically it probably should be. And we're seeing it even more now with every single prop firm, every influencer just wanting to have, stream after stream after stream from every single minute of the day. And it's just very depressing to see that, because it's like, that's not how you trade. It just isn't how you trade. So less is more. And unfortunately, if you fall victim to having to trade 24/7, I hate to tell it, but you will probably be the person that is doing, the part-time gig as opposed to the full-time gig. And that's sad, because you'll probably be spending more hours glued to the screen than the person that is full-time trading, spending way less, making way more. So it's a sad story, but there we go. Unfortunately, people like to, make their money on their promo codes, and that's fine. But just one of those things. Unfortunately, you've got to be aware of it. Again, if you're not aware of it, you are the product, and that's just the industry we're in, I guess. So be aware of it. It is sad, but there we go. One of those things, I guess, comes with the business. It didn't used to be this bad though. That's the annoying thing. It's got ever so worse over the last, I would say, 3 to 6 months. But I guess, that's where the money is, right? The money is so much easily made with their promo codes as opposed to actually trading. So it's a tricky one. I guess don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay, I'm just going to map out some levels of interest just in case they do trade. But again, most likely going to need to wait for the open, which we've got 5 minutes. And then I'm just going to let levels trade, or at least levels form before taking trades. The overnight print has been bullish with the CPI. I don't even have my chart on here anymore that I used to have. Let me just have a look at my old CPI chart. I used to have something that showed me the projections, and I don't even know if I have it on here anymore. I can kind of gauge though that it's already traded. Let's see if this is it. I think it's that one. CPI. I don't think it's that one. But I'm almost sure with just looking at price action, it's completed the move it should have done. I think the average is around 185 points would be a full 100% expansion, or a full 100% completion. So 830. We did 220 points. So yes, it's gone full expansion. So the trade there has been done. So at least the CPI print is, for the most part over in terms of its range. If you're going to get continuation, obviously we'll look out for that. Could be an ABC type of move. The ETH high is just above us, which is a target that is likely. That would be at 29,986s, and ES is going to be about 7,860. 7,618 for the ETH ATR high. And gold, RTY, and YM have all hit their ETH ATR high already. So I don't think I'll be trading those indexes. Nasty rejection on the RTY. TPT now changed their live chat. If you are recognized as a Pro Plus member, they take you directly to Pro Plus live agent chat, who don't reply. They only reply via email, and I've heard nothing for over a week. It's so depressing. It really is depressing, this industry now. This whole space. It's like, it's sad. It's changed so much. It's now been 3 weeks waiting for this Pro Plus live account. It's depressing, man. It really is. Yeah, it's sad. It's changed so much, you know. Back in the day, it's just, yeah, I mean, those times are gone now, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Are you still using Lucid? The same thing that's happening with Lucian there is basically happening with me. Do you know how much it costs me to use Lucid? In fact, let's show you. So would you use Lucid if this was you? I'll show you why I'm not using Lucid, and you tell me. You tell me, would you want to use Lucid if I show you this? Remember, I'm live with Lucid. Do you know what that means? Do you know what Lucid Max means? Danny? This is I'm not hating on you. I'm just asking a question. If you are aware of their Pro Max accounts, you probably will. I'll show you. I'm going to bring it up. In fact, it's not even letting me log into my Lucid account. I can't even log in. So I don't know what that's about. Although I did hear someone say you have to change your password. It's not even letting me log into my account. I've not logged in weeks, but let me try to reset my password. But anyway, I'll tell you the short reason is reset your password. The short synopsis is, if you've not got Lucid Max, you won't know. But for me to get an account with Lucid, I'm not showing my screen now. For me to get an account with Lucid, the cost of it is significantly higher being on the Pro Max, and like, arguably the rules are the evaluation rules are like worse as well. You have to have 5 days, 5 days till you can pass the account versus like 1 with the Pro Max. And this is another annoying thing. I'm not going to say any names, but you can pretty much guess who they are. All these YouTubers promoting Lucid right now. None of them are on the Max account. Yet I'm on the Max account. Little old me, who has made over maybe 30, 40,000 with them, and at one point only spent $6,000 with them. Spent considerably more now. Yet I'm on a Lucid Max account. Yet you're telling me the biggest YouTubers in this space are on a Lucid Max account? Like, they can still buy a Pro account and pass in a day and get a payout in 3 days, bro. Like, come on. What are we talking about? The person that blows up several accounts in a day on stream isn't on a Lucid Max account? Excuse me? Like, what are we talking about? Little old me over here is on a Lucid Max, which basically means I'm limited to the accounts, you know. Crazy, that's what I mean. It's just the industry is just fallen, unfortunately. It's very sad. Can't even connect to a normal live agent. That's terrible. I mean, the only thing I would say, Lucian, is I would try to stay with Tradeify. Have a very good live program, I must say. I mean, I'm not on their live program, but I probably will be at some point. But Tradeify, I believe, do have a very good live program. So I probably would try to maybe reach, get some of their accounts with Tradeify, because at the moment I'm only really trading Tradeify and my funded futures. I think I just have those accounts at the moment. So, and the good thing is, I guess with my funded futures, you can, the sim cap is about 100,000. So, you can make $100,000. You could then use that funds elsewhere. But gone are the days to make $100,000 with Lucid or someone like that. Like, So I've heard, as soon as you start making 3 times what you're expending, they move you to live. So for me, at one point in time, I made 33,000 with Lucid, and I'd spent about 6.5. Hence why they moved me live. And then being moved to live is great when you've got an account, but my accounts were $1,000 a drawdown, so I blew them pretty much. Like if I had one bad trade, even with a micro, you know, when we were having like 1,000-point days a couple of weeks ago, you know, you have a 200-point move go against you, $400 gone. It's like you got $600 a drawdown. It's statistically so unlikely to do anything with a $600 account. I think it's like, you know, 0.0001 to even be able to make that into anything successful. So you really need about $25,000 in your account to really do anything meaningful in terms of returns. That's of actual drawdown. Why do you think all of the prop firm accounts maximum drawdown is around 4.5? 4 times less than realistically what you need to really get, you know, something going. Which is why I guess the multiple accounts make sense. But don't trade them all together. Trade them separately. If you have 5 4.5K accounts, that's about $22,500 a drawdown. That's enough. But most people will trade them together, and they will trade them way too aggressively. So that $22,500 a drawdown is like $1,000 a drawdown because they're trading 10 minis on 5 accounts, which is just absolutely, again, gambling. It's the gambling industry like all over again, right? Which for the longest part, I've never really, never really associated gambling with the trading industry. But for for the most part, this last 6 months has been terrible with influencers and the way things have gone. It's gone completely in the opposite direction. So sad to see, but got to just try and, and again, you don't have to use props, right? You can use your own funds. Obviously, you don't have to use prop firms. It's just they are lucrative until they're not. And that's what you have to do. You have to play them until they're not lucrative anymore. And for the most part, there's a handful of companies still around. But as soon as you start maxing those payouts and you get moved live, as a couple of our members are seeing, it can get a little bit difficult. I've never actually been moved live with TPT. I got moved live, but then with that hedge I had, they took away all of my accounts. I lost $50,000. And even though I made $53,000 after that, or during that period of time, they never moved me to Pro Plus. So I've never had any issues with that. And I'm not currently using them. Just because, 1, I don't like the trading drawdown, and 2, the 80% profit split is I think, just is silly. Is silly. So there's better competition out there that I think is worthwhile. Again, Tradeify, I think, are pretty much, Tradeify and My Funded Futures. I would say Lucid. I would love to recommend Lucid, but how can I recommend a company that have put me on Lucid Max, which makes it way less favorable to trade cost-wise, and when you blow the account, you have to wait 2 weeks in order to trade with them again. Like, they purposely made it difficult. So I can't recommend a company that have those sort of, issues. It just doesn't make sense. Whereas the YouTubes out there with millions of subscribers that are recommending their pro accounts, of course they will. Of course they will. Why wouldn't they, right? Because they're not restricted. So of course they will, which makes sense. But until you actually do get profitable, and once you do start making consistent payouts, you have to remember, just like what happened on Apex, how are there YouTubers out there still recommending Apex when someone like me made $28,000, and Miller, a member in the room, made about $40,000 or however much he made, and we get banned, right? The small guys, but the guys with hundreds of thousands of subscribers still are using them. Doesn't that seem a little bit strange? And for me, I just don't see how that, it just doesn't sit right with me. So, I think it's shady business practices personally. So there's only a few companies now that that I really do think are worth trading with, and for the most part, most of them are getting worse. I mean, we saw I guess you've seen what happened with Alpha Futures. Pretty sad story, to say the least. I think how many has that been now in the past year or two? I can think of a handful off the top of my head that were pretty much, they were pretty much, gold tier or, A tier sort of companies to use at the time. Not so much anymore. So One of those. It's yeah, again, like I say, just when you're up against everyone's competing against everyone, you know, back in the day when it was just Apex and Top Step, it was kind of like, you know, it was so much chiller. The rules were harder, and don't get me wrong, it was more difficult, but like it was a much more chill environment. You didn't have everyone competing against everyone, which is what makes it very hard. Alpha futures, I mean, it's all online. Just have a look online. You'll see. Not good. Millions of payout voids. I think it's like $25 million or something. NinjaTrader, Tradeify have disconnected them. Just horrible stories. I mean, I know of like 5 traders on Twitter that had over 25k of payouts submitted, and they've all obviously they haven't got any of them. None of them. Complete rug pull. Complete. So this is why for the most part I don't promote any firm. I technically work with Tradesyncer, which is not a prop firm, they're a trade copier software. That my contract with them is so nonchalant, it's not even like I'm not tied to them in any sense whatsoever, right? And this is why, because like I say, I trust myself because I'm the one putting in the work, but I don't know any of these companies. I don't know what their intentions are. You got to remember, I know that they make money of failed customers, right? That's how they make their money. So if I had 1 million subscribers and you guys are all watching and paying attention, I know deep down that my members are the ones that are paying their wages. You got to remember that, right? That's the business. That's the business. So if that's okay and you don't mind that, then fine. Then you can promote those companies. That's fine, right? But it's just one of those things. You gotta figure out if that's what you want to do or not. And don't get me wrong, you can argue, well, you're going to buy those accounts anyway. You might as well take a discount code. I get it. But there's taking a discount code and then there's fully shoving it down people's throats. And then when the company goes shady, it's like, oh, how do you feel about that? How you living? YM here trying to pop up to ETH high for the second time. How you living? Lessons from a 3rd grade dropout. How you living? First 10 minutes for me though, nothing really at the moment. I would say more of a bullish open for sure, but not really much of a bias as of yet for the first 10 minutes or so. How you living? I'm gonna get that video up in a second. Lessons from a 3rd grade dropout. How you living? So you start trading individual accounts, not many prop firms at the same. Exactly. It's sorry, I've just got back onto YouTube. You are liable to them. Not sure, Danny, what you mean. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what that was referring to. So you are trading individual. Yeah. So I mean, for the most part, yes. But again, that doesn't mean you should do that. I've made over $250,000 trading group trading accounts. So, like, I'm not saying one's better than the other. What I do know is, from a psychological point of view, what happened yesterday with Trump tweet, which I wasn't involved in. But what also happened on Fridays with Trump's tweet on that news drop, what I do know is, for the most part, you could have been in trades in those periods of time with complete conviction. And some people don't use stop losses. Okay? I do. Mine's all automated. But some people don't use stop losses. Now, what do you think happened to those people on Friday and also those people yesterday who took trades who, let's say, were on the wrong side? Okay, so if you were long and the market dropped on both occasions, what do you think happened with those who had 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 accounts? If they had a stop loss in place, fair enough, they used a stop loss. Still, though, they've taken an unnecessary, loss on several accounts, which psychologically just hurts, right? So for me right now, it just doesn't make sense trading so many accounts. Do I trust my system? Hell yeah. But am I still sensible enough to know that the risk is what keeps you in this game, and the risk is the drawdown? If that drawdown is correlated to multiple accounts, it's not 20k of drawdown if you trade 10, 50k accounts. That's still $2,000 of drawdown. Whereas if you trade them individually, you have $20,000 of drawdown. And if you take $500 of risk per account on $20,000 of drawdown, hey, you got a chip, you stay in the game. But what I know is if you don't do that and you trade aggressively with 10 accounts, you can soon blow $2,000 of drawdown. In fact, it takes 4 trades. 4 trades and you've lost all of your accounts. Whereas if you take 2 losses and then rotate, 2 losses and rotate, that's fine. And if you're a good trader, you should not be taking consistently 2 losses each go. Because I don't. On days that I win, I'm not taking 2 losses consecutively. So for me at least, copy trading has its place. If you cannot distinguish between price, regimen shifts, market shifts, quarterly shifts, seasonality, if you cannot adjust your trading to those environments, then you will learn the hard way. And for maybe at some periods of time, it's fine, and it's fine until it isn't, right? And that's the thing, it's fine until it isn't. We can all do those things that we know we probably shouldn't, up until those points where we're laying in bed and you're going through it, right? Been there, done that, don't need to do that again. I was watching a reel from someone the other day who was talking about some of the things that they've gone through during trading and how they're just never ever going to go back to that place. And it's only by learning those things, and whatever they are for you. It could be Friday, whatever happened on Friday with Trump's tweet, things like that. Whatever that is, right? Whatever that means to you, blowing accounts, losing money, whatever it is. You have to sometimes go through something that is so utterly disgusting, you don't ever want to go through it again. And again, it all means different things to different people. Some people can't some people literally feel insane when they lose $100. Like, some people physically feel sick losing $100. To some people, losing $100 is literally like, bruh, that's like me sneezing. Like, everyone is different. Like, that's why what makes trading so difficult, because there isn't a black and white clear-cut answer to many questions for the most part. You have to figure this out for yourself. That's why risk and account sizes and all that sort of stuff, it's such a hard question to answer. Like, just because a trader can make $250,000 or $2 million trading 50k accounts, does that mean that's what you should do? I don't know. Just because companies offer a certain discount, does it mean you should trade that account? You have to figure this out, right? Does it make sense to you? If it does, then fair enough. But we're all different, right? We are all very different. Okay, so bias is still bullish here, or at least trying to be bullish on some of these indexes, but there's still just not enough of confluence for me to take anything at the moment. So staying cash for now, and if I get into any trades, I'll let you guys know. I will let you guys know. But yeah, Lucian, I don't know if you're still on the stream. Have you tried Tradeify? What other accounts are you using? Just out of interest. Because I'm not live with Tradeify, but I have heard Tradeify's live program is one of the better ones in the industry. But then again, I was telling you the other week that I thought that about Take Profit. But I have recently, as you know, been hearing a lot of bad things about Take Profit. So swings and roundabouts. And remember, those OGs, the OGs in the trading room right now, you lifetime members and or yearly members, what do we always say? Knowing when to trade is what? Knowing when to trade is a skill. Knowing when to trade is a skill. Know what you want to see, when you want to see it, and how to react when you do see it. And then the second part of that is managing the trade, which is the automation. If you can do all of that, you'll do all right. You'll do all right. Let me get that. How you living? Lessons from a... Bro, I haven't listened to this for a long time. Have any of you listened to this speech? I mean, I don't necessarily agree with how overweight the guy is. But hey, you know, it's a good speech. It's a good speech. And we all have trauma, right? We all have trauma. This guy definitely has some trauma. He went through a lot, so gotta give him some slack on the old on the overweight situation. Right, this is such a good speech. I should just let this play for 10 minutes. I wonder if any of you have watched this. 18 million views. I'm sure you've listened to this. Will I get copyright? I think I'll get copyright, won't I? But I don't make any money on YouTube, so who cares? Can I play this?
My house because the clock's always ahead.
Let me put this through the headphones. Why are these not on? How you living? It's one of those ones that always teach me somewhat about morals, right? You gotta have morals, and how you living is just such a good statement. How you living? Why are these still not showing up?
My mother said,
how you living? Connect. There we go.
nearly 30 years, my father left the house.
Are they coming through now? Boy, it's giving me goosebumps.
A country mother quoting Henry Ford, saying if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right. I learned that from a third grade drop. Simple lessons. Lessons like these. Son, you'd rather be an hour early than a minute late. We never knew what time it was at my house because the clocks were always ahead. My mother said for nearly 30 years my father left the house at 3:45 in the morning. One day she asked him, why, Daddy? He said, maybe one of my boys will catch me in the act of excellence. I want to share two things with you. Aristotle said, you are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act. Don't ever forget that. I know you're tough, but always remember to be kind. Always. Don't ever forget that. Never embarrass mama. Yeah. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. If daddy ain't happy, don't nobody care. But you know, I'm trying to tell you. Next lesson. Lesson from a cook over there in the galley. Son, make sure your servant's towel is bigger than your ego. Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity. Y'all might have a relative in mind you want to send that to. Let me say it again. Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity. Pride is the burden of a foolish person. John Wooden coached basketball at UCLA for a living, but his calling was to impact people. And with all those national championships, guess what he was found doing in the middle of the week? Going into the cupboard, grabbing a broom, and sweeping his own gym floor. You want to make an impact? Find your broom. Every day of your life, you find your broom. You grow your influence that way. That way you're attracting people so that you can impact them. Final lesson. Son, if you're gonna do a job, do it right. I've always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, before all of these people, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars, to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better, and better isn't good enough if it can be best. Let me close with a very personal story that I think will bring all this into focus. Wisdom will come to you in the unlikeliest of sources.
I won't play the story because it's very emotional, but I'll share the link. Very sad. I want to find the bit where it says, how you living?
Sources.
How you living? Okay. How far in is that? Oh wow, it's right at the end. Okay.
I'm gonna keep this.
Shut the hell up with your stupid scamming adverts. I'm gonna keep this short and simple. I ain't gonna listen to you.
And asking yourself every night, how am I living? May God richly bless y'all. And asking yourself every night, how am I living? May God richly bless y'all.
How am I living? What matters to me? Here you go. What matters to me most is how I live. I ask you all one question, a question that is what I asked my whole life. How you living? How you living? Ask yourself that question every day. How you living? I want to get that bit. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So it'll be about here.
Is huge and used. That if you're going to do something, you do it the right way. That cook would tell you this.
Oh,
that it's never.
There you go. Just after that, just before.
That you would show up how you living.
Oh, here we go.
All my life by a third cash live. Looked me in the eye and she said, it doesn't matter to me any longer how long I live. What matters to me most is how I live. Ask y'all one question. A question that I was asked all my life by a third-grade dropout. How you living? How you living? Every day ask yourself that question, how you living? Here's what a cook would suggest you to live this way. That you would not judge. That you would show up early. That you'd be kind. That you'd make sure that that servant's towel is huge and used. That if you're going to do something, you do it the right way. That cook would tell you this, that it's never wrong to do the right thing. That how you do anything is how you do everything. And in that way, you will grow your influence to make an impact. In that way, you will honor all those who have gone before you, who have invested in you. Look in those unlikeliest places for wisdom. Enhance your life every day.
Really good, really good. I love that. I love that. Millie, you can have 3 Pro Plus. Well, you can have technically 5, but you can only go funded with 3. I don't know if that's the same with the Rapid accounts, but the Pro Plus account you can only ever have 3, which is fine. Free account, honestly, you can do crazy damage on free accounts, right? Last week or the week before, I had 3 of those accounts. I must have made admittedly, I gave it all back. Wouldn't do that again, right? But I made I was up like $10,000 per day, I think, on those accounts. So you can do some damage, but with that, again, aggressiveness comes blowing the account. So don't do that, but you can still do some pretty good damage with better risk control. I was trying to do that 100k, as I told you all. I was trying to go for that 100k, which is achievable, but you got to remember. Lucid just reset my password. You got to remember going for an audacious goal like 100k on a $4,500 of risk is very, 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 very unlikely, and that's why. Well, it didn't work, but that's why day one I was always trying to get 10k in the account. So then I had like $15,000 of drawdown for that day, and I was trying to snowball it, because you've always got that intraday draw. You've always got that trading drawdown plus the end of day drawdown plus the profit. So I had every time I had 10k, I had like 15k in my account. But that's pretty much all the questions. Yeah, normally it's $10,000 in a day on Take Profit Trader, or it's circumstantial or discretionary how they transfer you. I've never been moved to Pro Plus on Take Profit Trader. Admittedly, I made 53,000 with them last year, and I haven't really used them. I don't think I've taken a payout with them this year. I probably spent maybe $2,000 or $3,000 with them this year. I haven't really spent too much with them. So most of mine this year was like Trade Day, Funded Next, Lucid. I think Apex before they banned me. I made like 77k from Jan to March. Let's have a look. If they're payouts, no, I don't think so. 4, 2, 5, 7. You should be fine. I mean, typically, with what I've heard recently, it depends on what you've spent. So if you'd only spent $200 to make all of that, then yeah, they're going to probably maybe move you live. But every firm is different. A lot of it is discretionary. But I think it depends on what you've made versus what you spent. If the ratio is more than like 2, 3, like if you've made 50,000 and you've only spent 10, 15, they're probably going to move you live. Or if you've hit their criteria, like Take Profit is $10,000 in a day for their pro accounts. To be honest, I wouldn't. Let me bring up a quote, another quote that I try to live by. In fact, it's not as relevant, but basically, I try not to worry about things that aren't happening right now, right? What's it matter if it hasn't happened, right? If you haven't been moved pro right now or live right now, keep trading how you trade, right? Don't let these outside influencers influence you, right? Don't let it harm you, because they're there. They're doing that for a reason. These things are in place as a psychological barrier. As I like to say, whether the future holds peace or chaos, worrying today changes neither. Live this day well. So if you get moved live next week, next month, next year, whenever that happens, let it happen on the day it happens. Don't try and worry about it 10 days before, 10 months before, 10 hours before. Trade today how you would trade regardless of being moved live. And if that day comes where they move you live, take one day as it comes, right? Because it will undoubtedly affect you if you worry about it. A very old, saying, we suffer more in our imagination than we do in reality. Okay, so the things we think about all day long will fester, and if you allow it, right? So, and I've been there again. Like I've made so many stupid trading mistakes worrying about freaking hell. The amount of times I've accidentally hedged or thought it accidentally hedged, like with Tradeify. The mental anguish I gave myself all day, all over the weekend, just for it not to potentially have a problem. And then you're thinking, oh well, will it affect me when I request my payout? And then you have all these things going on your head before you get the payout, and you're bound to make a mistake. Again, they have these rules on purpose. They're not necessarily trying to catch you out on something like that, but there's rules are in place for a reason, right? So try not to worry about things that have not yet happened. Obviously, it's good to plan for things, right? But certain things, it's probably best just to take one day as it comes, especially in trading. So, still nothing for me. Are you amazed, right? Are you amazed? We're going nowhere. Why do you think I'm not trading, right? It's almost like I can see what's going to happen next. Look at the chop. Let's have a look at the NQ. Everyone watching this right now, are you amazed at my trading skill right now? In fact, let's look at the ES, because the ES is diabolical. Look at the ES. Look at this. Look at this. Knowing when to trade is a skill. I will only trade whether there's I don't even know how many people are watching right now. Whether there's 10 people watching, one person watching, 1,000 people watching, 10,000 people watching. I trade the same regardless. And if there's no trade, there's no trade. I'm not going to be one of these influencers that takes trades for you guys to lose, so you then have to reset prop accounts for them to get paid on their promotional codes. Huh? Conflict of interest? I don't know. Not me. I trade when there's a trade, and if there's no trade, then you don't need to trade. Right? You don't need to trade. Crazy concept to think you can make more money than you're making right now by trading less. Huh? Yes, you can. In fact, your batting average will probably be better if you trade less. Anyway, we are over schedule on the YouTube, so we will end it here. And if you would like to continue watching this, you can join the trading room. Other than that, guys, I will see you all on YouTube tomorrow. I don't even know where the YouTube stream is gone. Oh, there it is. Okay, we'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out. Peace out.